Yes, good. Welcome to week 5, everybody. I do see that we still are having a few people who have not turned in their topics yet for their final project. So we want to make sure we try to get those in as quickly as possible. So that way I can go ahead and get those graded and turn back to you. Um, we had some pretty good discussions on decision making and Mia Ola, especially like the fact that you guys took the extra step there to kind of see where she is now. And Mia Ola swimwear definitely went out in 2017. And I think a lot of that is due to, as I kind of alluded to in the discussion, was that we're having some, when you have a smaller company like that, fashion is one of those industries it's tough to get working capital for as a company because it's so volatile and so personalized. So I think that, when you take a look at the industry, hospitality is another one that's really tough to get working capital for and investments for, unless you got somebody who's really passionate for what they're doing. But I commend you guys for actually taking the extra time to go take a look and see where she's at now. Um, and you guys can definitely read the comments there for where you guys can to see where she's at now. Because she definitely, I think the company that she went to after closing Miaola is also went out and was a victim of COVID. So I'm not quite sure where she's at now. Um, so this week we've got our midterm exam. Um, I would recommend that you, and I'll make sure that it's accessible here. I think it's under the professor's office where we've got I'll make that active on the Respondus, just to make sure everybody can access that. And I'd recommend that we do that before we get going on the midterm exam to make sure that you can access that and that you've got the webcam going and the rest of it. So if you have a problem, I recommend doing this midterm exam earlier. I'm okay with open book exams. So this is definitely open book. So you can, it's supposed to allow you to open Cengage up here. You may not, but it's okay if you decide to go ahead and open up the book on another device if you can't get that to open. There is kind of a flaw there when we get to Respondus. It's a pretty hefty program, and on some machines it doesn't seem to want to let you open the book, even though I have included all of the Cengage sites for that. So if you have problems with this, I recommend earlier than later. Because as we get into the weekend and those types of things, my availability, I do work a lot of times on Saturday, but I don't work the entire day. And on Sunday, I do watch football and those types of things. So, I do have a couple of things I do outside of this. So, definitely I'd recommend getting this out of the way quickly. Our discussion this week is on gender equity. And it refers to the CEO pipeline video that's inside, that's located right below this in the previous screen. But it talks about gender equity and and what really truly, and then I've added a second one is the question here, which is researching COVID-19 and gender equity. This aspect of gender equity and COVID-19, you'll find as you do a little bit of research, has some interesting effects, has had some interesting effects on gender equity and whether or not it's actually it's actually equal. So an interesting little discussion and side note there this week that I did actually add to that because I think it's important for us to take a look at. So after we take a look at, let's get down to week 5 here again. And then we have obviously our typical self-assessments and the assignments on innovation and change. This is kind of another split week here. We've got chapter 11, which deals with managing innovation and change, where we don't have I'm not placing a lot of emphasis on 11. because we do talk about change a little bit later, and you'll definitely talk about managing change, especially if you're a management, mostly, definitely if you're in management, but also in, even if you're in some of the other courses where we do talk a little bit about innovation and change as we go through there. But managing diversity and inclusion is one where chapter 13, as you can see, we spend a little more time talking about those types of things, because diversity and inclusion right now is the hot button. It's the hot button for all managers, and we have to be really both sensitive and aware of the diversity issue and inclusion. Although I can say that my diversity has never been an issue in any of the facilities I've managed. The saying I used to have was, if you were the little green guy from outer space in the Warner Brothers cartoons and you were the best person for the job, that's the person I'm hiring. For me, it was always about who could fill that job in that position the best. And with that, I was able to manage my diversity. And I've had some very, very extremely diverse staffs. Actually, if I go back to one of the first positions I ever had with the PGA Tour, I had a very, very diverse staff, and I had a VP of food and beverage. The VP of food and beverage for the PGA Tour would come down, and we talk, and he would go, he goes, I have no idea how you make this work. Because I had everything from a older gentleman, Chinese gentleman who owned his own bodega in New York City for a very long time, relocated to the area to be halfway between his two daughters, one at Yale, one at UConn. But he spoke almost no English. He actually brought his wife to the interview when I interviewed him. But I could actually take him and show him what I wanted, and he could produce banquet work, like as a banquet producer and production work. He could produce those platters and those types of things like no tomorrow. And I didn't need, as long as I could communicate what I wanted and how much it needed to be on he could handle the production list. He could sit in a corner all day long and actually manage to produce all of our banquet work, our cold banquet work, all our salad bar production and those types of things, because that's what he did. He was the best person for that job. I had a couple of older gentlemen who were vets, who were retrainees from a program from down the street at the local VA hospital. I had a couple of dishwashers that worked for me that were mentally challenged, where we worked through a training program in one of those areas where we were able to provide training and a secure job for them. Actually, I carried that forward into my position in the stadium, and actually that individual was actually there long after I had left the facility. So he was definitely those were people that I included in there. I had a couple of individuals I had pretty much all races represented. I had all age groups represented in that staff. And we did $1.5 million in annual food and beverage in 10 months a year. We were actually closed at that facility for 2 months. So diversity is something you can manage. And what we're trying to do here is make you aware of those hidden values, those hidden aspects of your personality that might lead you into having these, that you might have biases that you don't even really know. Especially now, I'm in that age group where, we have age discrimination could be an issue. So what we're taking a look at here through chapter 13 is taking a look at all these different aspects. And these content clips are actually very good. The diversity at JetBlue, the sexual harassment one, ethnocentrism and ethno-relativism is also, those are tough words to say for me, but basically they're ways to take a look at inclusion and how to include people into the workplace. So feel free to guys, if hope you guys get a chance, if you need to, stop by my office hours 5 to 6 on Thursday. The link is inside under the office hours section here. If not, drop me an email. I'm still home all week for the most part. I'm going to try to get back in the office campus on Friday, but that depends on what my medical team says. So I'll be pretty much online off and on pretty much all week long because I'm managing my 2 ground classes also at the same time online at the moment while I'm medically not able to work on campus. So like I said, drop me a line. I'll be glad I can give you a quick phone call or whatever, or stop by the office hours on Thursday. All right. Hope everybody has a great week.